Welcome back to my channel. You better turn down the volume because I bet you that was really loud. Okay. If you're at home, you need to print off this worksheet. We're going to continue on with right triangles and trig. So on the back of this worksheet I brought you, we're going to draw a picture. We're going to draw a picture. I'm going to make mine ginormous, so you don't have to make yours big. You can make it small if you want. We could just do it this way too. It ain't got to be that way. Okay, so when we have a triangle, any triangle, but we're just going to focus on a right triangle. Let's say we name the bottom left A, the top B, and the right hand C. Okay, these are the names of the angle. These are the names of the angle. So I would say angle C is a 90-degree angle. And I would either write that really fancy, like the measure of angle C is 90, or I could just go simply C is equal to 90. But when it's a capital letter, we're talking about angles. Then usually we use those angle names to name our sides. So little a is opposite of big A. So that means this is side A, because you always go across. So big A, the side is little a across from it, which means capital C is going to match the hypotenuse. We'd call that little c. And then this guy would be little b. So today you're going to see this in your triangles, and we got to know how to get these names. So remember, they're across. That's going to seem kind of overwhelming because we also have other names for this, like opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. So you don't have to write this down if you think that it's going to confuse you, but I'm going to show you what I mean by that. If I tell you that this angle is 40 degrees and I mark it, so I've now marked angle A, that not only makes this side little a, but you could also think about it as the opposite side. And C is also the hypotenuse. And little b is also the adjacent side. So the last thing we do today is what is called solving triangles. And you got to keep all of this mumbo jumbo straight. So you got to keep in mind that the angles are the capital ABC and the sides are little ABC. But then we've also been working with the position, meaning opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. Now, last thing that I want to talk about before we actually start doing the math is what do I mean by solving the triangle? So the very last problem we do today will have you list out all of the angles. So it will say A equals, B equals, C equals, and then it'll have you give all of the sides. So solving a triangle means you find all of the angles and all of the sides. Well, on the one that we're currently looking at, we know two of these. So we know capital C is 90. When you put it in Canvas, though, you won't put this degree symbol. You can just put 90. And I told you that angle A is 40. And we can find angle B using the triangle sum theorem. So triangle sum theorem says if you add these three angles, they have to equal 180. So that means that if I want to find this missing one, all I have to do is 180 minus 40 minus 90, and our missing angle is a 50-degree angle. That's the easiest part, and that's the part that we start with on the other side of this note sheet. I don't know any side lengths right now because I didn't give you any sides. All I knew were angles. So let's flip this over. And the first set of problems, they say 9, 10, 11, 12, say find the missing angle. To do that, all we have to know is that A plus B plus C equals 180. So to find all of these missing angles, you could just go to Desmos, get onto their calculator, and you're always going to start with 180, and then you're going to minus the two angles that they give you. So they gave us the right angle, it just has the little square on it. So they gave us, this is 90 degrees, and they give us 37 degrees. So that means angle A that's missing, we just have to type in 180 minus 37 minus 90. So that is a 53-degree angle. Remember, in Canvas, you'll just put 53. You won't put the degree symbol. So these the next three are super easy. So I'm going to have you do them because all you have to do is type into your calculator 180 minus 90 minus the other angle that they give you. This one's a little bit weird, but don't let it confuse you. He's just 50.1. Okay, go. Give it a try. I think we need like approximately 15 seconds. Roughly 5, 3, 2. Okay, for 10, I get that capital B is 58. Is that what you guys got? Okay. For 11, I get that B again is 39.9. And then the last one, I'm looking for angle A, and he is 30. Great. So first step, easy peasy. Would you guys agree? Yeah, it's okay. Okay, the next step is where things get more complicated. So 13 wants you to find the missing side. And they are telling you what side they want you to find by giving you the little X. So the first step that we need to complete is to mark the angle that they give us that's not the right angle. So mark the other angle that they give us. And then we need to label our triangle based off of that. So that means that the side that has a length of 4 is capital O, as in opposite. The bottom of the triangle is capital H, as in hypotenuse, which means that the side that they want us to find is capital A. So I want you to circle the capital A. Based off of that, we have to use a trig ratio. So I'm going to write down the 2 trig ratios that include A. So we could use CA, cosine, or TOA, tangent. I'm choosing these because they both have the A. That's what I want to find. Well, I can only find that using what I have. And the side that I have, just throw my marker around, is O. I have side O. Because of that, that means that I have to use TOA. It is the only one that has the side that I want to find and the side that I have. So I have to use TOA. You're hanging in? Yeah? Okay, so here's how you set this up. Tangent, because we're using TOA, tangent of 41. We have to use that angle. The tangent of this marked angle is my opposite side, 4, over my adjacent side, which is what they want me to find. Then I know whenever I have an equation that looks like this, the only thing that I have to do is switch these two things. The shortcut is that you just switch them. Really, what we're doing is multiplying both sides by A and then dividing both sides by tangent 41. But when you do that, what it ends up looking like is capital A is 4 divided by tangent of 41. So in my Desmos, I'm going to do 4 backslash tan 41. That gives me a side length of 4.60. I'm going to round it so that it looks like money. In Canvas, it wants you to round to 2 decimal places. So that means you'll round it so that it looks like money. Okay, let's look at 14. We're going to set it up exactly the same way. The angle that they give us is capital B. So I'm going to mark that. The angle that they give us is capital B. Based off of capital B, I am going to label these sides as opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. So that means that 10.8 is my opposite. X, which is what they want me to find, is my hypotenuse. And the height is A. They want me to find H. They want me to find H, which means that I have to use one of the ratios that has H. So that's either SO or CA. You're fine. In the SOHCAHTOA. Now remember, to find what's missing, I have to use what I have. I have O. So the only trig function that has O and H is sine. So I will use sine to find this missing side. So just like the last one, I'm going to set it up sine with my angle measure of 57. The sine of the angle that's 57 degrees is the opposite, 10.8, over the hypotenuse, That's what we're looking for. And then just like in the last problem, in order to solve this, you just switch what's on the left with the denominator of the fraction. So what I type into Desmos will be 10.8 divided by sine 57. So I'm going to pop back over to Desmos. I'm going to type in 10.8 backslash sine 57, and that gives me a side length of 12.88. 12.88. You're okay on that one? Okay, on the next problem, I want you to get to the point where you identify what trig ratio you're using. So that means you need to label OAH and decide if it's SO, CA, or TOA that you will use to solve. Just get that far, and then I will check in with you to finish. So you only have to take it as far as deciding, are you using SO, CA, or TOA? It's like we need at least 30. Roughly 10. Five. I have that we're using SO. They want us to find the opposite side, and they gave us the hypotenuse. So the only trig function that matches that is SO. Then to set that up, we do S on the SO, so that's sine of the angle that we marked, 37, equals O, what we're looking for, over H, what we have. Well, this time we won't switch because notice these are both numbers. Up here we had the number, the angle, and the side we wanted to find. Here, all you have to do is multiply both sides by 10.3. So what that ends up looking like is that O is 10.3 times the sine of 37. So we would multiply both sides by 10.3, and it ends up looking like that. So we go over to Desmos, and we type in 10.3 SIN 37. And that gives us a side length of 6.20. We got around 619 up to 620. Okay, let's have you guys try the last one all on your own. There's a worksheet where Hugo normally sits if you want to steal it. Uh-oh. I'm getting a negative number. Did anybody else? Let's go roughly 20. About 10. Five. Okay, I ended up getting negative 298. Did anybody else get a negative? What'd I do wrong? That's our thingy doozle. So opposite, hypotenuse adjacent. They want me to find A. And they gave me H. So that's cosine, right? Yeah. What'd you guys get? Did you do 3 cosine 47? Did I type it in wrong? Yes, no. Did I type it in at all? 3 cosine 47. Oh. Guys, look at my calculator. Do I need to end the parenthesis? Do I need to hit times? Okay, we're just gonna go with Desmos. So Desmos gives you not a negative, 2.05. So if you're using a calculator, you might want to switch to Desmos. I don't know why my calculator is giving me a negative number. Okay, so now the last guy is put on your seatbelt because we got to find a lot of things. Okay, so when we solve this triangle, remember at the very end, what we're going to do is give the measure of every side and every angle. So we're going to fill in capital A, capital B, capital C, little a, little b, little c. It starts the same as the problems we just did. So we are going to mark the angle that they give us, and then we're going to label our sides based off of that. So I have that 9, the one that's 9 in length is the opposite. Hypotenuse, adjacent. So the top is adjacent, the height is 9, the hypotenuse is the diagonal. They don't tell us what side to find first, so I always find A. I go in alphabetical order. So of the sides I have, I go in alphabetical order and find that first. So in this case, I would find A first. So that means I have to use Ka or Toa. How do I know that? Because I'm pulling the two trig functions that have adjacent. So out of SOHCAHTOA, Ka and Toa have the A. They gave me O. So of those two, the only one that has O is Toa. So now this one with the highlighted O is the one that I use. So I will do tangent of the given angle, 51, equals the opposite, 9, over the adjacent. That's what I'm looking for. So this really is 9 divided by tangent 51. I'm just waiting to give you a second to find it and to practice rounding to 2 decimal places. Got about 10? Okay, I got 7.29. Did you guys get the same thing? Okay, so now we know A, we know O, so that means we have to find H. Well, what we're going to use to do that is A squared plus O squared equals H squared. I'm not going to do another trig ratio. I'm just going to use the Pythagorean theorem. Well, I just found A squared, or I found A, I should say. So A squared would be 7.29 squared plus O squared, well, that's 9 squared, is going to equal H squared. To solve this, I find the root of both sides. So what I'm going to plug into Desmos is root button 7.29 shift 6 2 plus 9, shift 6 to enter. So my third side length is 11.58. So now I have all of the side lengths. So now let's talk about how we fill those in. Okay, well, little a is the side that's across from the angle capital A. This is where things get like, holy moly. So that means that little a is 9. Little a is 9. So over here, I'm going to write down 9. Little b is across from big B. So that was our adjacent side. That's 7.29. And then side C is our hypotenuse, which is our 11.58. And now the easiest is left for last. So let's go see what angles we have. They tell us capital A is 51. B, they don't give us, but C is the 90 degree. So to find this missing angle, we do what we started the period with, which is 180 minus 90 minus 51. And that last angle is 39 degrees. So the last problem on your Canvas quiz is this. Let's do just one more together. And that last one is in our notebooks on page 110. It says solving triangles at the top. So to solve a triangle, you find the length of each side and the measure of each angle. Now for all of these triangles, you're going to go in the following order. So you'll go in this order every single time. The first thing that you do is SOHCAHTOA. The second thing that you'll use is the Pythagorean theorem. And remember, we've changed that to O squared, just kidding, A squared plus O squared equals H squared. Then the last thing you do is the easiest. That's the triangle sum theorem. So that just means that A plus B plus C is supposed to equal 180. So you'll take 180 minus 90 minus the angle that they gave you. Okay, so we're going to do one together, and then I'm going to have you try your quiz. So step number 1, mark the given angle, that's B, and name opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent based off of that. So across from that would be opposite. The bottom of your fraction is hypotenuse, the bottom of your triangle I meant, which means that the side C to B has to be adjacent. Then, by alphabetical order, I always just find adjacent first. If it would have been O and H, I would find hypotenuse first. It does not matter which side you find first. From there, I list the two functions that it might be. So I could use cosine or tangent. Why? Because they both have an A. They both use an adjacent side. What do I have? Hypotenuse. So that means I'm going to use cosine to find my second side. Cosine of the given angle, 61, equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So in this case, adjacent is 5 cosine 61. Adjacent is 5 cosine 61. So you type that into your calculator just to verify that you can get it. And mostly I'm just verifying your rounding. You got roughly 10. Five. I think it's 2.42. Is that what you guys got? Great. Okay, so that was one. Use SOHCAHTOA. We used cosine. 2. Use Pythag to find the third side. So we have adjacent 2.42 squared plus opposite, that's the one we're trying to find, equals hypotenuse squared, that's 5 squared. So this one looks slightly different than the last one. Well, we need to move this 2.42 to the other side so that we can solve for opposite. So this would be opposite squared equals 5 squared minus 242 squared. And now it looks like our last one, and all we have to do is root. So I'm going to type into Desmos the root 5 squared minus 242 squared. So you guys type that in just to verify your rounding. Roughly 10. About 5. Three. I got 4.38. Is that what you guys got? And now I can start filling in information. So little a, these are my sides, little a. So I'm going to go up and find angle A. That means little a was my adjacent side. So little a was 242. Little b, so I go across from angle B. That was my opposite side. So that was 438. Little c is my hypotenuse. That was 5. And now we're down to the easiest part. Angle A they didn't give us. Angle B was 61. Angle C was the 90. So now we just do 180 minus 90 minus 61 to get our last angle, 29. So just to give you a quick heads up what your quiz looks like. The first set of problems are this. The second set of problems are find the missing side. The last problem is find the whole triangle. You'll give it a go? Yes? Okay, great.